Pedro from A&P-REACTS. I'm here today with Jake from Cyhra. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing extremely fine. A little bit stressed, to be honest, because both the release of the album is coming up and also the tour with Battle Beast. So I have a lot of things on my hands right now, but overall I'm feeling really, really well. I have a son that refuses to sleep, though. So if you hear something, it's my wife walking around with him here. I tried for an hour before you called me. But short question, short answer. I'm fine.
I have to ask you the first question off the bat. I have to ask you this: the album title, "No Halos in Hell." Is there a hidden message there towards somebody?
There is absolutely a message, but you can interpret it yourself in any way you want, because No Halos in Hell was actually Jesper's first idea to name our debut album Letters to Myself. But we said that no, the lyrics are so personal, and Letters to Myself would fit better for that album. But we kept No Halos in Hell in mind for our second one, which is this one. And I tried to be very personal on this album, but I also tried to dig into things that I really, really hate. And one of the things that I hate the most is organized religion. And I say nothing against religious people, because everyone should believe in whatever they want, and it's the freedom of speech and freedom of religion, and I completely agree to that. But it's the religion in general, like the whole, and it doesn't matter which kind of religion it is. It's and it's just my point of it. I see religion as a way to make people small and feel dependent on like some higher form of just bullshit that someone is just trying to use you. So that is what No Halos mean for me. No Halos in Hell means for me, because I don't believe in heaven, so I also don't believe in hell. And in this case, halos would represent like angels, and if there's no angels, there's no heaven, then there's no hell. So like I'm working around with playing with words, but the funniest part of it would be to interpret it in the way that if you've been good your whole life, you won't come partying with us. So because we haven't been all that good throughout our lives.
Was the creative process for you guys different from this record when you look back at Letters to Myself? Did you guys take a different approach with this record?
Yeah, we just called Max Martin, and like he delivered in 5 minutes, no problem.
Wow.
No, of course not. It would be nice. It would be nice though if you had Max Martin on speed dial and just like, hey, I need to order a pizza, or I mean an album.
Yeah,
but
deliver all to your door.
Exactly. No, maybe that is something to put. That idea should be possible. Instead of people ordering pizzas, they would ordering songs from us. No, but it started out in the same way as we did with Letters to Myself. I sat together with Jesper a lot in my studio, writing songs. I said a lot of myself this time, making the backbones out of the material, and then. But on this time, Oige flew over a couple of times to work with me and Jesper, and also Alex flew over to work with the drum arrangements already from the start. Instead of me trying to, program drums like I really wanted them to be, like it takes hours and hours and hours. Alex came over. We spent a couple of evenings, and he was recording with my digital kit, and So that was another approach. And also Oige wrote some songs himself, or some ideas himself, that we worked on. So we were sending a lot of things back and forth. But that was the same way we did the first album, but this time we did it in a more structured way, I would say. Like it was easier this time, and all the songs just keep flowing. So as you could see, we released the album as a double vinyl and as a digipack version where we have like, I don't remember, but it's like 15 or 16 songs. So we had a lot of material, so to say.
Yeah, I felt that way listening to the record, but at the same time, it didn't feel like it was a long record. The record really flies by as you're listening to it. The structure of the album itself has a great fluidity. The intensity level is always high. You never feel like it's ever dipping. Was that a concern going in? You guys wanted to create an album that captivates the listener with the first song, and that listener is now willing to put the record down until they get to the last song. Was that the intent?
Yeah, that was absolutely one of the points. But my biggest concern while writing this album was I have to step back a little bit. And that was when we did Letters to Myself, it was me and Jesper just writing songs. We didn't know if we were going to tour ever, if we were ever going to play these songs live. So we just made songs for an album. We didn't really thought about the live situation. And then all of a sudden we come out and we play a lot. And we realized that, the tempo within the songs, because like when you're touring on your first album, you have no other songs to play than the songs that you have on the records. You're being forced to play all the songs. And to be honest, as a musician, some songs are not meant to be played live. Some songs are meant to be played at the gym or, when you're sitting in your car. But some songs doesn't just work in the live environment. So my biggest concern and my biggest mission when I started to write songs for this album was to make sure that each and every song would differ in tempos, structures, and have like some kind of a variety in them so that they could fit in good in the live set. So that we could always take a couple of the songs from Letters to Myself and always a couple of songs from No Halos in Hell, but also I was pretending that this album was our first album, and now I didn't want to do the same mistake again. So I made sure that each and every song that we recorded for No Halos in Hell would work in a live situation, and they really, really do. So that was my biggest thoughts before I even started to write a single note.
That was exactly one of the things that I picked up listening to the album, was that the album didn't have, every single song had a different structure within itself. But then when you looked at the overall feel of the record, they didn't feel disconnected from each other. They still felt like they were all part of one solid piece that was this one record. They all had some commonalities that were some threads that hold them all together. So when you're putting the album together, that is in the back of your mind. You want to create an album that has great tempos, great melodies, but each song has a different approach.
Absolutely, but I also think that is something that is caused by the band members. I mean, like, Cyhra has a fantastic setup of members. I mean, like, each and every one of us is badass on our instruments, and when we're all recording together, we make that happen. When like the songs intertwine, and it really feels like a band. So I guess that we could have thrown in any song from any Metallica album and made a cover out of it, and it would still feel like it was a part of our album because of the musicianship that we've got together.
Yeah, the chemistry is really obvious with this. I mean, it was present in the previous record. I think it's evolved into this album. One song that surprised me on a positive note was Lost in Time. I absolutely love that track. Did you guys, when you guys were putting that song together, did you feel like putting it in the middle of the album was the perfect spot for it? To me, it was, but I really want to hear from you. What did you?
I was not the one deciding that, so I could not take credit for it. But for me, it has always been like this: that the ballad should always, like, if you have an album with 10 tracks, the ballad should always be like 5 or 6. But that is because I grew up with vinyls, and the ballad always came last on page 1, or disc 1. I guess that I have some old thinking in there, but it was the record label that decided to put the songs down and in which order they were supposed to be on the album. So I can't take credit for that, but I think absolutely it's a good place to have it like in the middle, so that the tempo goes down a little bit. And as I told you before, you get smashed in the face when the next song comes on. But that song in general, it was a fun chapter because we released the vocals, or we recorded the vocals for our first album in New York, and we rented a guy called Mark Mangold and his studio in New York City, and we became really good friends. And we said that, you know, we really need to work on something together for the future. So when the songwriting process came up on No Halos in Hell, I reached out to him and said, "You still want to do something?" And he said, "Hell yes, send over something if you have anything." And I made some piano things. I sent it over to him, and he came back to me, and he was also a big part on the lyric writing on that song. So we wrote one verse each, and it just turned out really, really great. And I mean, like, I'm raised with those like 80s metal stuff, and he's a little bit older than me. He comes from like the 70s, 80s kind of rock, and, you know, he's been writing songs for Michael Bolton and Cher and so on. So really got this 80s vibe on that song, I must say, and I love it.
Yeah, it definitely has like that old 80s ballad feel to it. Just really, really stripped down. Like I said in my review, I felt like you're almost, as a singer on that track, you're fully naked because there's nothing around you to hide you. It's really just your voice in the keyboard melody. It's just a magnificent track. I'm assuming this will be one of those songs that you guys won't be able to play live.
Won't be able or will be able. What did you say?
Won't. Or
of course we can. Of course we can play it, because like we have so much pianos and strings and such like that in our live arrangement. Anyway, like, we don't have a full string orchestra, but, you know, our Mr. Aces that is doing our backing tracks are always playing the piano. So you know, the ballad that we had for Letters to Myself, we played a lot. So it's actually pretty nice to, you know, have piano on backing tracks and me alone on stage, because that's the time where the other guys can, you know, go off, have a sip of water, or, you know, just calm down a little bit. So we will absolutely play that song live, for probably not on the Battle Beast tour now, because like we only got like 40-45 minutes, but for the future it's absolutely going to be one of the songs in the set, I think.
Oh, that's great news, because I absolutely, it's one of my favorite
next
songs.
time we're in the States, I'm gonna play it for you.
Ah, you just made my day. You just made my day. I want to ask you this. I felt that this record was, maybe I'm wrong, but I felt it was a little bit heavier than Letters to Myself. Do you feel that way?
Yeah, it absolutely is. It's also softer in some spots. It's also more melodic in some spots. It's heavier. It has deeper lyrics in some spots. Like, there's a little bit of everything that we try to extend, but without going outside of like what is Cyhra and like the walls of Cyhra's music, because I think we found our concept and our sound already on our first album. But we try to, you know, enhance the feelings that we want to, you know, get out with. So also the fact that on those songs where you hear Oige, like songs like Hit Me, for example, you know, it's almost this old Bay Area trash in the beginning, which I really, really think is cool. That would be nothing that I would come up with. So you know, but that brings a diversity to everything, and I think we needed that.
I agree with you. I think the album, from the sounds perspective, is very diverse. On for me, one element that kind of holds the whole album together is the lyrical content. I felt it was a very good continuation from where Letters to Myself ended, as far as the meaning impact. Like there's so much intensity, there's so much emotion in the lyrics, and to me that was something that you guys had with the first record, and you brought it back with this record. Is that an important part of the way you write songs? You want to write songs that mean something to you and perhaps people connect to?
Yeah, absolutely. And I happened to see your review of the album, and you nailed it when you said that the lyrics feels like they could be taken in by you as a listener, and, you know, feel that this song was written to myself as a listener then. And that exactly That is exactly what I am trying to achieve. I am trying to write down my feelings in my wording, but I usually leave out like what the song is about. I never write that this song is about a red fire truck, because like then the listener will always, you know, think of the song as the song about the red fire truck.
Mhm.
Instead, I try to word the lyrics in a way where, as you said, I want the listener to feel connected to the lyrics, and feel that, yeah, I know exactly what they mean. I've been through this, even though that thing that you've been through has nothing to do what I wrote about. But I like that storytelling a little bit, and I also learned on Letters to Myself how to write personal lyrics, even if the lyrics is not personal for me per se, because most of the Letters to Myself lyrics is about Jesper's struggles. But it was me that wrote them down, and I really enjoyed that way of writing. So I tried to um, keep that on this album as well. And there's even a lot of the songs that is still touching base on um, the subjects that were brought up on Letters to Myself. So yeah, it's very important for me. And I said in another interview earlier today that it feels sometimes that the listeners don't care much about lyrics anymore. So for me, it's important to keep that magic alive.
For me, the lyrics are a huge part of the pleasure of listening to the track. It just allows the track to come to life. And when we're talking about lyrics on this album, and we're talking about tracks that come to life and really touch a soft spot, Battle from Within perhaps is the one that has the most personal and deep lyrics for you. There was a line that I wrote. There was a line that I wrote down when I was listening to the song. You say on that song, there's one specific line: "I sing to heal." And the question I have for you is: do you sing to heal just on that track, or in general, do you sing to heal?
No, on that track especially, and all the words for that song came. It came to me while I was writing the song, and it was not meant to be a song about my brother. It was never meant to. I never thought it out like, yeah, now I'm gonna write about this. It was something that came to me like subconsciously. Uh, I was sitting by the piano. I was recording my vocals and the piano at the same time, and I listened back to what I recorded, and I was like, "Holy fuck! I am singing about this." And it took me a while to actually, take that in, and I had like this struggle and those weird discussion with myself that like, am I really gonna do this? And I even talked to the band members, and I remember asking them if this would fit in Cyhra or if I should keep this song for myself. But they were really supportive, and they said, like, let's go with it, and they thought it was a great idea. So when it comes to Sing to Heal, this song really healed me, not completely, but it was so much emotions that I've had for so many years just lying around like in the deep space of my mind. I just completely pushed my feeling aside, and I thought that I was strong by not taking care of those feelings, which is fucking stupid. um, but I grew up with this mentality that you should put on your like Jason Statham outfit when it comes to feelings, and like just be the bad guy, and don't show emotion, don't cry, don't just be tough, and man up. Which I think is the saying "man up" is probably the stupidest thing someone can say, because like the only one you're hurting is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you're the only one that has to take care of it in the end, when you can't push more stuff into that black corner. All of a sudden that balloon is going to burst, and um, you end up like me writing a song about it.
uh, well, I'm not sure if everybody does that, but at least they're not as talented as you, and you really have a way with words. And in that song, I feel like your emotions really come across perfectly. It's a very very interesting track from that perspective.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's a track that for you performing it now that it's been recorded, is going to be something that you're going to have a hard time with, or it's a track that you feel comfortable singing live and singing it out loud?
I'm gonna tell you. I just need to find the charger real quick because my phone is dying. Here it is. Here's my charger, everyone. Maybe all of a sudden there's light. Yeah. We've actually we did 8 shows prior to this Battle Beast tour that we're going out on in Sweden and Finland, and we played the Battle from Within song, and every time I almost bursted into tears when I was first explaining to the audience what the song was about, because they obviously hadn't heard it by then, and it was really emotional to sing it, but it felt really, really good to see the crowd's reaction, and that they were flipping their lighters on and stuff like that. Like they really showed support. So that felt really, really nice. But I think that is a song that always will almost bring me to tears every time I play it, to be honest.
It will give you a chance to heal, maybe perhaps a little bit with every time you perform it, and help others heal as well.
Yeah, and also it's a way to honoring my brother, I guess, like that he's not forgotten.
Mm-hmm. Really important. I want to ask you about that song and Lost in Time. In my opinion, are 2 songs that really showcase your talent and your vocal capability, even though it's showcased throughout the whole record. But to me, those 2 songs, I felt that there was extra emotion in the delivery. You seem to just get better and better with every single album that you release. So the question I have for you is, what's your secret? It's like you're like a fine wine.
Yeah, I heard you say that. Maybe it's because I get more and more space. I don't know. No.
For your voice, like, do you take special care of it, or you're one of those guys that no, I'll smoke and I'll drink, it doesn't really matter?
I would like to say, like they say in Rockstar, I lick a lot of pussy, but that's not true. But I think that is hysterically funny. I'm probably the worst singer when it comes to like take care of my voice. But I try not to get a cold. I should do more to take care of it. But what I try to do is to sing a lot, like try to at least like sing an hour a day, and when I can. And sometimes like now when we're going on tour, I have no time to sing. It's all the preparations and stuff like that that comes up. But I don't know. I guess that I'm just lucky that I still get better and better, as you say. But I usually get better because I do more shows. At every show, I always learn something new. So I don't know. I'm just happy that I still have my range, and I hope that I will be able to keep it that way for 20 more years. It's impressive to see like Halford and the other guys, still sing like they did when they were 20. And
actually,
I hope that I can do that too.
I had that discussion with my son today about King Diamond with a new track that he released. Like if you play that next to Abigail, you can't really tell which one is the new one, which one is the old one.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool.
Moving away from the record, I need to ask you, before we call it a day, I need to ask you a couple of questions about the band. And the first question is, Jesper is now going on this tour with Battle Beast. Is he going to be part of future tours as the band moves on?
Yeah, I hope so. But we support Jesper 2000%. It's it's no news for people that Jesper has been going through a really shitty time, like the past 10 years. He's been struggling with alcohol abuse, drug abuse, and also a lot of anxiety and mental illness. And, you know, he's been struggling throughout this drug and alcohol and, you know, been past that. But, you know, the aftermath of that is the anxiety and, you know, still feeling really, really bad in front of a lot of people and you know, around a lot of people and not being at home. And, you know, he needs to, you know, take care of that, which he's doing now. So he's a part of the band. He writes songs. He's behind us and, you know, takes part in all videos and stuff like that. But it's best for him right now to, you know, heal and take care of himself so that he could come back stronger than ever when he feels ready. So that's the situation with that.
You guys are real a band of brothers.
We are a band of brothers, and that is all what the Blood Brothers on the album is all about.
What's the situation on bass, though? Are you guys getting a bass player?
We are probably at one time, but as you said, we are a band of brothers, and the most important thing for us when we formed the band was to make sure that there was no egocentric figures walking around in this band, and, you know, no one trying to believe that someone was better than anyone else. And you know, we really wanted to, you know, gather a band of friends, you know, that had the same goal and the same intentions, and, you know, that could really work out, you know, 2 months in a tour bus together. And we really did that. And unfortunately, Peter had to leave because he started a brewery that all of a sudden turned into, you know, mega success. And he also has restaurants and stuff like that. So we also wanted the fans to see the same band more or less all the time. Unfortunately, now Alex came into the same situation where we've been forced to have like another drummer filling in for Alex at some points where he's been out with Camelot. But, you know, that's the way it is. But when it comes to bass players, you know, if Jesper or if Peter would decide to come back one day, you know, the door would still be open. But we're not searching for it. We felt that a 4-piece band works really, really great. Peter has been playing with us on backing tracks instead. And I think that when that day comes, when, you know, a bass player, you know, knocks on the door and says hello, and, you know, we feel that that is the right guy or girl, well, then it's that. But until then, we will continue as a 4-piece band.
And you will continue on the road with Battle Beast. You guys are going to be touring across Europe.
Yeah, maybe Battle Beast can play the bass. Battle bass.
Maybe they could get one of the guys to fill in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, why not?
Or one of the guys from Brimir as well. I mean, there's a lot of options. You guys will have lots of options.
Yeah, we have 5 bass players. The shows that why not?
Yeah, you have a lot to choose from. It's not going to be lack of people. It's not going to be an issue. That's for sure.
Exactly.
And as this tour approaches, you guys are going to start like this week. You guys pretty much going to start off this tour, and we're getting towards the end of the year. New album coming out this week. As you start to look towards 2020, what are the band's goals, like as far as touring shows are concerned? Do you guys have a roadmap, or are you just taking an approach of let's see what comes our way?
Now, just put a map. That's the first point, right? then it's time to play dart and see where we end up. I will probably miss the map though because I suck at that. No, but the goal is obviously to tour as much as possible. You know, to cover as much ground as we can, and my goal is to come to the US in the fall in one way or the other, even if it's only a week or two. We try to go to Japan, do another European run. Cover as many festivals as we can during the summer, and we're working hard on that right now, and news will follow. But one thing is for sure, we are not gonna try to, you know, stand still. We are gonna try to, you know, continue with full force and come out and tour as much as possible. And I hope we can deliver on that promise.
Well, I'll tell you one thing: if you guys come to Toronto, I'm gonna come collect on that Lost in Time song. You guys better perform that.
I I assure you that I will play it for you if you come there. And our management is in Toronto, so you could just go over and knock on their door and say, have them over or else. Else I make a bad review.
Yeah, I'll bring some Tim Hortons coffee to sweeten the deal.
Yeah, Tim Horton was a hockey player back in the days, if you didn't know that.
Yeah. And originally he was the original owner of the coffee shop. Now it's owned by some big conglomerate out of Brazil, so it's not Canadian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not Canadian owned anymore. All right, Jake, thank you very much for your time today. Thank you for talking about No Halos in Hell. What a great record. Best of luck.
Thank you very much. And see what you did. I'm just going to show you here.
Oh, crap. The face says it all. The unsmiley face says it all.
Exactly. I ran into a blue screen on my computer, thanks you. So thank you very much. No.
Blue screen of death, as they're known. Maybe that's a good sign. Maybe it's a good sign. It's a sign that you just need to take a pause, take a breath, because there's a tour around the corner and a new album coming out this Friday. And
I can't wait for it to be released. To be honest, I can't wait to see the fans and other metalheads' reaction to it. I love the album. I really hope that people are gonna love it as if they just love it half as what I do. I'm fine with it.
I think the album is going to be a huge success because, to be honest with you, there's now one skippable track. It has such a great fluidity all the way through. You almost the first thing I thought is, well, this is a long album when you look at the amount of tracks that's on it, but it goes by so quickly you don't even notice the time going by. It just has that great playability as a record.
That is that's really nice of you to say that, because that's how I feel. We like the Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1 and 2. Really long albums, but it doesn't feel like they're long. Even not even the songs, the Keeper of the Seven Keys feels long, even though it's 13 minutes long or something like that. So yeah, when you feel that way, it's usually good.
Yeah, it's when you look at an album and you're like in song 10 and there's 14 songs and you're like, oh my God, there's still 4 more. Then that's a bad thing.
But what I feel with this album is that there's no fillers, and that is what I like a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. This album is like, and every song offers you a little bit something different. They have a lot of some similarities, but they all have different components to it. So it doesn't sound repetitive. And to me, that's important.
No, exactly. And then you still haven't heard the bonus tracks that we didn't fit.
I haven't heard.
It was not because they were, better or worse than any of the other songs. It was just that they couldn't fit. So, we have a couple of more songs that you need to listen up on as well.
Oh, wow. Are those being released in Japan? Because normally the Japanese releases always have a couple of bonus tracks.
The bonus tracks are being released on the double vinyl. All the tracks are there, and also on the digipack.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So this is good for fans to know. If they want to get the bonus tracks, pick up the vinyls or the digipack.
Yeah, but it's really cool to have a double vinyl. I've never done that before. So that is really cool.
Yeah, and the vinyls are having a huge comeback. I'll tell you one thing: when you guys are coming to North America on tour, make sure you guys bring vinyls. People are buying those at the merch stand like crazy.
Absolutely. A friend of mine even built a new vinyl pressing plant in where's this? What's the city where all the music comes from in the States?
Nashville,
yeah. So he built it up there. So he's going into production in a couple of months because they saw that the demand is huge for there's not that many printing factories left nowadays. So yeah, I could completely see I could clearly see a rise on that market, which is really cool.
Yeah, it's really cool and it's crazy. And like the vintage stuff is really expensive, but on shows now, besides the t-shirts, obviously the thing that fans are really gravitating to is the vinyl. So when you guys are coming here, make sure you pack some vinyls because they'll be flying off the shelves. That's for sure.
Yeah, we'll absolutely do that.
All right, Jake, thank you very much for your time. Enjoy the tour with Battle Beast, and best of luck with the release on Friday. I think you guys are going to crash it. Going to kill it.
Thank you thank you so much, and I hope to see you soon.
Me too. I hope to see you back in Toronto soon.
Awesome. Have a nice day.